नमस्कार. डॉक्टर राम मनोहर लोहिया रिसर्च फाउंडेशन नवी दिल्ली, रवींद्र भवन मडगांव तशेंच कोंकणी भाशा मंडळ गोंय हांच्या जोडपालवान आयोजित केल्ल्या राष्ट्रीय विचार मंथन ह्या परिसंवादाच्या चौथ्या सत्रांत जमिल्ल्या सगळ्यांक हांव पूर्वा गुडे उर्बे भरीत येवकार दिता. I extend a warm welcome to one and all present here. गोंयांत जेन्ना क्रांतीचें वारें व्हांवंक लागलें तेन्ना मनोहरराय सरदेसाय हांणी आपल्या कवितेंत म्हणिल्लें, पडली बडी आज रे धोलार पडली बडी, लाख घडयांत एकदां येता जिणेंत असली भांगरा घडी. ना रे भावा एकलो तूं, हांव रे येता तुजे फाटल्यान, म्हजे फाटल्यान येतात पळय घेवन भाले लाख घडी. म्हजे फाटल्यान येतात पळय घेवन भाले लाख घडी. स्वातंत्र्याचो ध्यास घेवन दुसरी कसलीच पर्वा करिनासतना गोंय मुक्ती चळवळींत ज्या गड्यांनी उडी मारली तातूंत सगळ्या जाती धर्मांचे गोंयकार भाव आशिल्ले. हातूंतूच आमच्या क्रिस्तांव भाव भयणीचोय आस्पाव आशिल्लो. तर आयच्या सत्राचो विशय आसा गोंय मुक्ती चळवळींत क्रिस्तांवांचें योगदान. The topic of today's session is Christians' participation in Goa's liberation. पुर्तुगेजांच्या जुलमी राजवटी आड जेन्ना सुरवेक कांय स्वाभिमानी गोंयकार पेठून उठले तातूंतलेंच एक नामनेचें व्यक्तिमत्व म्हळ्यार लुईस दी मिनेझीस ब्रागांझा. गोंयचो टिळक अशी तांची नामना आशिल्ली. हाचे वेल्यान आमकां सुरवातीच्या गोंय मुक्ती चळवळी पासून क्रिस्तांवांचें कितलें मोलादीक योगदान आशिल्लें तें दिसून येता. अशे तरेची ही परंपरा फुडें वचत आमकां त्रिस्तांव ब्रागांझ दी कुना सारकेले नामनेचे सुटके झुजारी लाभले. तांच्या डिनॅशनलायझेशन ऑफ गोवा ह्या पुस्तकांत वसणूकवादा आड तांणी आपले विचार व्यक्त केल्यात. तर अशे जायत्या क्रिस्तांव सुटके झुजारांचो आमच्या सुटके चळवळींत आस्पाव आशिल्लो. ह्याच विशयाचेर आयज आमचे मानिस्त उजवाड घालतले. तर मागता क्रिश्चन्स पार्टिसिपेशन इन गोवा लिबरेशन ह्या सत्राचे मॉडरेटर भोवमानेस्त विजय कुमार कोपरे हांचे लागीं तांणी वेदीचेर आपली बसका घेवची. सर विजय कुमार कोपरे is a teacher by profession with 27 years of experience. He is teaching at Don Bosco in Kepe. May I now request Mr. Abhishek Ranjan Singh, Chairman of Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia Research Foundation, New Delhi, to welcome the moderator. तांची वळख फुडें करून दितना Vijay Kumar Kopre sir is a recipient of many prestigious awards such as Goa State Teachers Award, Best Teachers Award from Shikshak Parishad, and Best Teacher Award from many social, cultural and educational institutions. He is associated with various social, cultural and educational organizations. He regularly writes for various newspapers such as O Herald, Gomantak, Lokmat, Pudhari. He conducts courses for students, teachers, parents, youths on various topics. He is passionate about history. He is associated with Chieftains Memorial Trust and fighting to get due recognition for the Kunkolim revolt that took place in 1583. I welcome you, sir. Our first panelist for today's session is Dr. Sushila Sawant Mendes. I request Ma'am Sushila to kindly take her seat on the dais. May I request Mr. Abhishek Ranjan Singh ji, Chairman Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia Research Foundation, New Delhi, to welcome the panelist. Dr. Sushila Sawant Mendes is a professor of history in Government College of Arts, Science and Commerce since the past 32 years. Recently, she was conferred the state's Best Teacher Award for Excellence in Higher Education for the year 2020-21. She is the author of a book, Luis de Menezes Braganza, Nationalism, Secularism and free thought in Portuguese Goa. She has been officiating principal and vice principal of Government College, Kepe. She has presented many research papers for state, national and international conferences, many of which have found a place in journals and books on history of Goa. She is a trustee of Silver Star Appeal, a UK-based NGO which spreads awareness of diabetics. I welcome you, ma'am. Our next panelist is Mr. Sandesh Prabhudesai. May I now request Sandesh Bhai to kindly take his seat on the dais. Sandesh Prabhudesai is a professional journalist since 1987. He is presently into research journalism. I request Shri Abhishek ji to kindly welcome Sir Sandesh. Mr. Sandesh Prabhudesai has worked as a field reporter, bureau chief, chief reporter, correspondent for national newspapers and portals from Goa, as well as the editor of print, TV and digital media. He was the editor-in-chief of Prudent Media, HCN TV channel. He is the editor and publisher of GoaNews.com, Goa's oldest news portal, which is functioning from 1996. He also broadcasts several programs on radio. He is a writer, columnist, and he is the author of the books Talgadi and Ghusmat, collection of essays. He is an activist right from his student days. He was active in the student movements and later in the Konkani language movement. He is involved in activities related to education, literature, theatre and films. I welcome you, sir. And our next panelist is Advocate Radharao Gracious. I request Sir Radharao to kindly take his seat on the dais. May I request Abhishek Ranjan Singh ji to welcome Sir Radharao. Advocate Radharao Gracious is one of the most prominent lawyers in Goa with around 4 decades of practice. He is known as a firebrand advocate in Goa. He is also a political activist. He is a well-read person and passionate about history. He writes on various topics in several newspapers in Goa regularly. I've also heard that he is also the nature and bird lover. He has interest in environment as well. I welcome you, sir. May I now request our moderator, Vijay Kumar Kopre, sir, to kindly take over the session.
I welcome you for this session. मैं आप सभी का स्वागत करता हूँ. मेरी स्थिति वो एक पिक्चर है मेरे कमरे में जिसमें एक छोटा सा जहाज है. वो खुद को कहता है इतने बड़े समुंदर में मैं छोटा सा हूँ और इस महासागर में मैं मॉडरेट कर रहा हूँ. मैं समझता हूँ इट इज़ माय प्रिविलेज. बहुत बड़े पिलर्स है गोवा के हिस्ट्री में. तो आज क्रिस्टी समाज का गोवा मुक्ति आंदोलन में जो योगदान रहा उस पर हम चर्चा करेंगे. मुझे इस सभागृह में जो व्यासपीठ का नाम दिया है डॉक्टर जूलियाओ मेनेजेस टीबी कुन्या सभागृह, इसी नाम से सब कुछ आया. Who am I to ask or give a certificate saying that the Christians are less nationalist, the Hindus are more nationalist? Do they fought for the Goa's liberation by taking that caste certificate? The question arises. So, and we'll discuss that. You will come to know. मैं उस इलाके से आता हूं जहां 1583 पोर्चुगीज के खिलाफ पहली क्रांति हो गई जो इस देश की, और मैं आगे जाकर कहूं शायद आशिया खंड की पहली क्रांति थी किसी फॉरेन रूल्स के खिलाफ. और मेरे वहां पर मैं यहां खड़ा हूं, मैं जानता हूं जो कन्वर्ट हुए क्रिश्चियंस बने वो कौन सा मेरा भाई है और मेरे फैमिली का है, उतना पेट्रियोटिज्म, उतना नेशनलिज्म है। फिर भी अगर कोई सवाल पूछता है कि क्रिश्चियंस कंट्रीब्यूशन इन गोवास लिबरेशन, मैं तो उसको पागल कहूंगा, बिकॉज बहुत बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन है, कोई अपने रिलीजन से नहीं गया। तो एक ख्याल त्रिस्ताव ब्रगांजा कुन्या का डीनेशनलाइजेशन ऑफ गोवंस, मैं डिक्शनरी में आई वॉज सर्चिंग द मीनिंग ऑफ डीनेशनलाइजेशन, इट सेज समथिंग एल्स। जब गवर्नमेंट अपनी प्रॉपर्टी प्राइवेटाइजेशन करता है, दैट बिकम्स अ डीनेशनलाइजेशन, इट इज नॉट एंटी नेशनल्स। सो वी मिसअंडरस्टूड दैट. It may be that time Portuguese want to convert their ideologies, their culture, through Goan's culture, through of their culture. Because of that, he might have said, I don't know, Nishta is not there. She had done a research on this. I was reading a paper on denationalization. She had made a big research on Tristan Braganza Kunya itself. So, but at the same time, I read one more article in Marathi by लिट माधव पंडित. ही सेज, वो क्या कहते हैं कि उस जमाने में कैथोलिक चर्च ने लगभग 60 लेटर लिखे डायसिस को, आर्च डायसिस को, कि तुम लोगों को पढ़ाओ कि जो पोर्चुगीज कल्चर को एक्सेप्ट करता है उनको सल्वेशन मिलेगा, उनको मुक्ति मिलेगी, और यू डू नॉट पार्टिसिपेट इन इंडियनाइजेशन. दैट मे बी द कॉज सम ऑफ अस थॉट दैट the Christians are, I don't know, less nationalized. At the same time, Manohar Hirba Sardesai, he wrote one book, Gomantakiya Christi Samaj. In that book, he mentioned that the Christians are not less nationalist than any other religion. For me, it is that time when they fought, there was no religion issue, there was no caste issue, there was only one issue, that my country, my land. I will hand over the mics to them. Before, I remember one of our hero, Dr. Verissimo Coutinho from Kungolim. Let me share this. He was in America for many years. वो वापस आया अमेरिका से. गोवा 25th सिल्वर जुबली मुक्ति आंदोलन का वो पर्व मना रहा था. अभी हम 60th years में आए. तब मेरे ख्याल से लेट शंकर दयाल शर्मा was invited as the chief guest, and he gave a speech. In that speech, he said, somebody might have given that, and he said everything about Goa's liberation, but he missed out 1583 revolt. At that day, Verissimo said, my history should be come there. And he initiated that chieftain revolt in Gungolim Chieftain Memorial Trust, as I am also a trustee. I remember his words, I am a Christian by faith, by a Hindu and nationalist by blood. This type of personalities when we have, we should not ask question about or raise a question about their nationalities. I invite Dr. Sushila Mendes to present her presentation on this issue.
Respected moderator, friend Kopre Desai, eminent lawyer Radha Rao, my friend Sandesh, ladies, gentlemen, students. First of all, I'd like to say thank you. Though I'm one of the organizers, I didn't select myself to speak this topic. Many years ago, in the O Herald, please let me know if somebody cannot understand me. I can try to translate into Hindi. Many years ago, in our local newspaper, O Herald, there was a small write-up which said that Goan Christians are also nationalists. And this was written by Padma Shri and Gomant Vibhushan, veteran freedom fighter Lambert Mascarenhas, the editor of Goan Tribune. Now from this write-up, one of the research guides at Goa University said, he was Mr. Joseph Barus, he said, this is a good argument to do your research topic. And this made me investigate more, so I went to New Delhi. In the Nehru Memorial Museum and Library, there is an oral history section which has the transcripts of all the freedom fighters who are dead today, but who had given their oral interview at that time. So, Bab Ravindra Kelkar, he is the one who guided me there. He is a literature, as you may know, of Goa. He guided me there, and I went through a lot of transcripts of a lot of freedom fighters, not only Catholics. But one caught my eye, that was Pita Alvarez. And as you may be knowing, Pita Alvarez was one of the great socialist leaders. He was with Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia during the Quit India movement in jail for 2 years. And thereafter he was an activist in the true sense of the word. He organized the railway workers, the trade union movement. He contributed to the Janata, the socialist weekly in Bombay. He was elected to the Bombay Legislative Assembly in 1949, and then he was in the forefront of Goa Vimochan Sahayak Samiti, which was the main movement to get people from outside Goa into Goa to fight for the satyagrahas in Goa, 1954 and 55, where you know a number of satyagrahis were shot by the Portuguese bullet. Now, Pita Alvarez, he was in Bihar trying to propagate Jayaprakash Narayanji's socialist Janta movement there till he died in 1975. It's not right on my part to give you the biodata of each Christian freedom fighter. That is not the objective of my paper. But what is important is, whenever you see any picture of Pita Alvarez, you always see him wearing a Gandhi topi. And this Gandhi topi is symbolic of the fact that a lot of Christian freedom fighters, including my father, he always wore a white kurta pajama with a Gandhi topi. And my mother always wore a khadi sari with a bindi and with flowers in the hair. Now this external dress was a symbol of protest, because the church edict of 1736 had prohibited, had not allowed Christian women to wear flowers in the hair. That is a different reason, because in the Goan temples, we have this oracle where you put a flower on an idol and then ask questions. The Bhatji asks questions. And the answer depends on whether the flower petal falls or not. So what the Christian women would do is they remove the flower, put the saliva and put it on the Christian idols. So this is what the priest told me, that this must have been the origin why the 1766 edict stopped this. And even the sari was not allowed to be worn, the bindi was not allowed to be worn. So when a woman dressed up like this or a man put a Gandhi topi, it was symbolic of the fact that you can not impose your cultural patterns on us. So it was like a sign when a person wore this and walked on the streets in Goa during Portuguese rule that I am a Goan Christian, I am not a Portuguese. And you better learn to respect my culture, which is more Indian than Portuguese. So from a small thing like dress, even other things, like my parents were not practicing Catholics. And many Christian freedom fighters never got married in the Catholic Church. My father in particular went to Sevagram. He had a civil marriage. And he went to Sevagram, got Gandhiji's blessings, and as you know, Gandhiji had a Maun Vrat day. One day he would not speak to anybody, and then he would write his blessings behind cyclostyle paper, so as not to waste paper. So the blessings given by Gandhiji to my parents are written down. And you know, at that form of time, at that time when they got married, this piece of paper meant nothing. In fact, it was a big hullabaloo in the family that, you know, the son-in-law is not getting married in the church. And, but times change, history changes, and family histories also change. Now it is so like, you know, it's a prized possession in the family that Gandhi's writing on the paper blessing my parents' union. Now the Catholic freedom fighters participated in the freedom struggle. You must understand one point, that they were going against the tide. They were going against the tide of their faith, of their religion, of their family faith. And so it was a kind of a double battle, that you are not only fighting against the state, you are not only fighting against the Portuguese government, but you are fighting your own people, you are fighting your own community, you are fighting your own family, and you are questioning your own religion. So this was a kind of a double battle that the Christian freedom fighters fought. It's not only my father, but many freedom fighters, like from Kunkolin, Domingos Aguiar, he also didn't get married in the church. They named all their children Indian names, like my name is Sushila, my siblings are Jai, Babu and Jahan. And even the surname, which was before the Portuguese came to Goa, Savant, has been attached by my father in my name. So it is not only the surname which came after the Portuguese conversion to Christianity, but the original Hindu surname the freedom fighters put into the names of their children. And that was to make a point that our cultural heritage is Hindu before you came to our land. Now, there are, situations where there were terrible consequences of these actions. My brothers went to a Catholic school in Bombay, St. Sebastian, and the priests harassed my siblings because my siblings were not baptized. They didn't receive First Holy Communion. They didn't receive confirmation, which baptism is received in the first year of the child in the Catholic faith. So for a priest, this was sacrilege, that their student is not baptized, and how can he be a Christian? So these type of problems were there for the children of freedom fighters, which cannot be explained in terms of harassment, but the priests may have been right from their perspective, from their point of view. Now, thereafter you find that this question of Christian freedom fighters and Hindu freedom fighters, I don't know whether it was there during the freedom struggle. Because whoever I have interviewed, the freedom fighters themselves have never raised this question. They have never considered that we are Hindus or they are Catholics. In fact, there were so many interreligious marriages, which I can just name one after the other. So even T.B. Kunia never spoke about the religion of a freedom fighter. But in the 1954 struggle, there was a conscious decision taken by the Indian National Congress, Goa, that 3 Catholic freedom fighters would stage a satyagraha. And they were Mark Fernandez, Alfred Afonso, and one more. Alfred Afonso was from Terracol, Mark Fernandez from Patra Devi, and Anthony D'Souza from Pole. Anthony D'Souza later became a minister in Bandodkar's government. Now, these 3 Catholics were chosen to show the world that in the National Congress Goa, there are also Catholics, not only Hindus. And these are people who are in the forefront of the Satyagrahi movement. So many members of the Goa Vimochan Samiti from Pune, as you know, were from different parts of the world. Karnal Singh, a young Punjabi of not even 25 years, sacrificed his life. So like that, the freedom struggle, there were not really, nobody questioned your background or whether you were a Sardar or whether you were from Bengal. And this is a point I always tell everybody, that in Goa, we talk now today about Goans and non-Goans, but it is important to go back in our history and remind ourselves that many non-Goans died for Goa. And it is not only Ram Manohar Lohia who had the courage of his conviction, but there were people from all over India who braved the Portuguese bullets and came into Goa to offer satyagraha, and today are martyrs. So this needs to be highlighted in Goa's history. It is not. Now, this Christian freedom fighters, I feel, according to my submission, is a post-colonial issue. And this may be because the fact that Congress, National Congress Goa, had a very bad show in post-colonial Goa. For 17 years, you had the Maharashtravadi Gomantak Paksh rule. The leader Bandodkar and then his daughter Shashikala Kakodkar. The party itself was pro-Marathi. It was for merger of Goa with Maharashtra. So perhaps it was this time that the Christian freedom fighters, who many of them could not speak Marathi and who were certainly for Konkani, who were certainly not for merger with Maharashtra, felt a little bit unsettled. And that is when this topic was arisen about Christian freedom fighters and, why are you negating the work done by Christian freedom fighters, etc. Perhaps because MGP rule followed President's rule. And then you have the Congress government. So a good 17, 18 years, there was no Congress government in post-liberation Goa. That is what Pandit Nehru said, Goa ke log ajeeb hai, because the Congress fought for freedom, and then when elections took place, there was only one congressman, and that was from Daman. And perhaps one can analyze it, but this is not my subject. Why the first government of independent Goa did not elect Christian under the Congress rule, but under the United Goans under Jack Sequeira. Now, if you study the, there is a small freedom fighters souvenir which was released when the 25th anniversary of 18 June was celebrated in Goa. And at that time, Mr. Tridip Chaudhary had come to Goa. He was felicitated here. Shirubau Limaye of the socialist movement, whom I spoke to, interviewed in Pune, he was here. He was felicitated here. Many of the, Nana Saheb Gore was here. At that time, there was a souvenir released. And I was going through who wrote about, that was participants' view. They were writing what they experienced. And most of the writers in that Freedom Fighters Association souvenir, which is a source book for the historiography of Goa, were Catholics. Zotico D'Souza, Pita Alvarez, Cajetan Lobo, who wrote about Goan Tribune, Lambert Mascarenhas, Gerard Pereira, the great trade union leader, the CPI leader of India. These Catholics, they wrote in that. There were one or two Hindus who did write, like Shivaji Desai, who wrote about Goa Liberation Army, and V.N. Lavande, who wrote about Azad Gomantak Dal, because they were participants. Now, besides this, it is often not highlighted in Goan history that Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, of course, did come to Goa and light the spark of the civil liberties movement. That is in the month of June. But in the month of April, there was a talk on civil liberties by T.B. Kunya in the ILA hall in Bombay. And T.B. Kunya, later on this was published, his talk on civil liberties. I read the whole 5-6 page pamphlet, and T.B. Kunya makes very important points there. He speaks about how Goans do not have civil liberties, the press is censored, how so many Catholic freedom fighters are fighting against the freedom struggle, and so many other issues of civil liberties are raised. It is said that it is this talk in April 1946 that influenced Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia to come to Goa and protest against the fact that for more than 430 years there were no civil liberties and the Goans needed to be conscientized, awakened from this long slumber that they have a right to think freely, speak freely and act freely. So this had a background which is never spoken about in our history books. Besides this also, this 75 years celebration, the souvenir that all of you may have in your hands, there is one photograph of women freedom fighters. And below that it is written Jivan Kirtani, her associates. One thing you will find in that photograph, all the women are in saris. They are not wearing the Portuguese skirt and blouse or dress. That was 90% of the Catholic women wore. Now in that photograph, I have found two ladies. One is Maria Araujo, and there was one more, Selena Olga Moniz and Dr. Laura D'Souza. These people, they were in saris, and in fact when the Goa Board of Secondary Education pulled me in as a resource person for the 10th standard history book, I pushed in the names of these women in the 10th standard history book on Goa because they were neglected. You know, generally our history is about his history, never her history. And this is important that Goan women were shoulder to shoulder. In fact, this Araujo was in jail 2 or 3 times, and the last time she was in jail was for 3 years. So nobody even talks about her involvement just because she's not a living freedom fighter. She was in Reshmagu's jail, and she struggled. When freedom fighters go to jail, the whole family suffers. It's not just the person who goes to jail. This is something which needs to be highlighted. I'd like to end by saying that you cannot speak on this subject without speaking about Julião Menezes and T.B. Cunha. I come from Asolna, where Julião Menezes also comes from. I worked in the church archives at the Archbishop's Palace, and that was the archives where the priests of each church would send letters to the bishop. And I have read many letters against Julião Menezes written by the priests of the Asolna church, which calls him a communist. Now T.B. Cunha also talks about in that Civil Liberties, where it was very common for the church to call freedom fighters communists. It was as though to say, these communists don't believe in religion, and therefore they are a threat to the Catholic religion. The Club Juvenile, which was a youth club started by Julião Menezes, it was of course a youth sports club, but it had its hidden agenda, I cannot deny. But the priests were writing to the bishop that, look, this club is there and they are taking our Catholic young people, they are conditioning their minds that Julião Menezes is breaking crosses in the village, he's spreading communist ideas. So this is something which Christian freedom fighters faced bravely. And Julião Menezes, of course, didn't stop with this criticism. He edited the Gomantak, which was the organ of the Praja Socialist Party, the Gomantak Praja Socialist Party. And also, he went on to write books, Contra Roma, in Portuguese. It means against Rome. And T.B. Cunha has written so much. Denationalization of Goans is his magnum opus. He spoke openly against Saint Francis Xavier, the patron saint of Goa. T.B. Cunha said that it was this priest who introduced the Inquisition in Goa, and therefore we should not, venerate him. And there were so many other pamphlets he wrote. He wrote about the Vatican-Portuguese colonial alliance. The title itself is meaningful. He spoke about Jesuits and Goa. He spoke about pro-Portuguese foreign missionaries. In fact, when he died, the Catholic Church refused to bury him, refused to give him 7 meters of space in the cemetery. And he was put in the Protestant cemetery at Surrey after his death. And today, of course, his remains are brought and kept in a pride of place in the Azad Maidan. But this man didn't have a place to be buried after he died. Now, this is how the Christian freedom fighters had their own struggles. And I'd like to conclude by saying that I don't think this topic is really relevant today. I don't think as an academician I need to speak on this topic. I don't think Christians need to be validated for their contribution in the freedom struggle. And if at all anything, I would like to end by saying that they were people who actually faced a double struggle rather than the other communities. And the freedom fighters themselves never had this problem. It was the others who had the problem. So, and nowadays politicians name roads after Goan freedom fighters. It is happening in Goa in the last 2-3 months. Now this politicians of course have their own agenda of vote bank politics. We are not a party to this type of politics. Certainly the freedom fighters were not a party to this type of politics. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. I come from Kunkolim, that AVC or Solna Valley Kunkolim is a part during that Portuguese era also, and we fought together. Dr. Julião Menezes, we term him as an unsung hero. He suffered that time, and even after the liberation, he has not got his due respect, due recognition from government, as well as I will say the historians also. Our 1583 revolt is still not recognized by the government. It is not getting a place in the history books. ये सब कुछ हो रहा है, वो आज़ादी के दौरान, गोवा मुक्ति आंदोलन के दौरान जो हुआ था, वो उसके बाद थोड़ा उसका करेक्शन हुआ था, वो भी नहीं हुआ. अभी क्रिश्चियंस लेस पेट्रियोटिक या नेशनलिस्ट नहीं है, या उनका कंट्रीब्यूशन इस पर हम जब बात करते हैं, तो मुझे याद आता है फ्रांसिस्क लुइस गोमिश, ये बहुत बड़े गोमंतकीय सुपुत्र है, जिन्होंने गांधी जी के पहले जो आज़ादी का माहौल था, उसने एक लामार्टिन, एक फ्रेंच पोएट था, उसको एक चिट्ठी लिखी. उसमें वो बताता है, आई कम फ्रॉम द कंट्री विच वॉज अ क्रेडल एट वंस अ टाइम. जिस देश ने पूरे दुनिया को चेस यानी बुद्धिबल का खेल सिखाया, उस देश से, जिस देश में पहले 2 एपिक्स की रचना हुई, महाभारत और रामायण, उस देश से मैं आता हूं, तो मेरा देश कम कैसा हुआ? क्या वह नेशनलिज्म नहीं था? तो फिर भी हम क्यों क्वेश्चन कर सकते हैं? So we had those type of nationalists, and we have, because as Sushila Madam rightly said, nobody is authorized to give that certificate. We have a personality who is very active, a very senior advocate, as introduced to him, and who is very active on social media. I remember recently he had posted one on social media, Facebook post, in Kunkolim, Desai's converts, he said, उसने क्या कहा कि हमारे यहाँ जो हिंदू कन्वर्ट हुए थे, we believe still have relationship. वो क्या, उन्होंने उसमें क्या कहा कि जो कन्वर्ट हो गए वह आगे बढ़ गए, मीन्स उन्होंने आगे, उनका प्रोग्रेस अच्छा हुआ, और जो कन्वर्ट नहीं हुए वो थोड़े पीछे रह गए. इसका मतलब ये रिलीजन के लिए नहीं. उसने उसके बाद में मैंने कहा, he was telling me some of them were captains, doctors. I was replying to him, even my daughter is doing her MBBS. My son has completed his nautical science and will be captain shortly. So then he said, that's why you got a little less time to come in that track. And let me welcome Dr. Radha Rao. Please welcome him and to present his.
Good afternoon. I wish I could speak in Hindi, because I can see that many of you are more at home with Hindi than in English, but unfortunately I can't. I've been following what Sushila has said, and I tend to agree with her ending, that the freedom fighters, whether they are Christians or Hindus or Muslims, is irrelevant. But sadly for us, today our country is moving in a direction where all that matters is religion. Very sadly, it is so. The state itself is propagating that, and unfortunately, it is the worst thing that could happen. In 1947, when we chose to become a republic, we consciously chose to become a secular republic. Religion had no place in our constitution, religion had no place in our polity. We are supposed to advance into a modern secular country. But that is not what is happening. And I would say that those who, so-called freedom fighters who fought for India's freedom prior to 1947 under the label of the Congress are themselves responsible for the mess the country is in today. The BJP has merely taken over from them. If we were to be led properly by the Congress in the earlier years, we wouldn't be in the present mess. Having said that, let me now go into the subject which is subject of discussion. I think the Christians did not fight for whatever they were, for liberation or independence, because they were Christians. No, that wasn't the issue at all. I don't think any one of them said, I am Christian, therefore I am fighting for independence. It wasn't so. And I also come from a nationalist family. My father was a total nationalist. And in the years before liberation of Goa, it was not permitted for Christians to have Indian names. My name is Indian, all my family names are Indians. That was because he believed that we are Indians, irrespective of our religion. Our religion does not dictate our nationalism. But what I want to point out is the Christians who were freedom fighters had something, the reason for that was different. Reason was education. See, in Goa and in India too, those people who had Western style education are the ones who followed Western precepts. When you read the Western history, you found such things as secularism, civil rights, human rights. These are Western concepts. These aren't Indian concepts. So if you look at Goan freedom fighters, you look at the basic freedom fighters. You see, there are many freedom fighters who emerged after the liberation of Goa. It is said that 50% of Goa's freedom fighters are post-liberation. They became freedom fighters merely because they registered as freedom fighters without having done anything in the liberation movement. That is sadly so. But I am talking of the acknowledged freedom fighters. You look at Menezes Braganza family, Tristão Braganza Cunha, Lambert Mascarenhas, Julião Menezes, whoever you may mention. They are not just Christians, they come from a huge landed gentry. They are big landlords, all of them huge landlords, and they are the ones who had access to education and Western style education. They did not study local Marathi, they studied Portuguese. And with this study of foreign languages, it enabled them to get into foreign concepts. And this foreign education is what made them move in the direction of freedom. And it is not just so in Goa. If you look at the national freedom fighters, whether it was Gandhi or whether it was Nehru or Ambedkar, they all studied in the West. And even others studied Western style here in India. It is Western education which made men realize that there are higher choices, that it is our right to be free. And that they were Christians here in Goa was incidental, because in Goa, Christians went for Portuguese education. The Hindus did not. They studied in Marathi, and in Marathi studying in those days, you did not proceed beyond a particular level. Your mind was only on these Marathi readings. Same thing even in Goa now. Those who read Marathi papers are the fundamentalists. If you want to, you may agree or disagree with me, but the reality is that if you read English papers, if you read English publications, your mind widens. And you do not go into small things like Hindutva and things like that. So to widen your horizons, you have to have access to Western literature, Western books. And if you don't have, you end up like my country is ending now. Now, as Kopre pointed out, the earliest freedom fighter you could say was Francis Luis Gomes. In the 18th century, he was a member of parliament in Europe, in Portugal. And on the floor of Portuguese parliament, he demanded freedom for Goa. That was in the 18th century, 1779 or something like that. I don't remember the date. So that was much before the Indian National Congress was founded in 1885. So he did not fight for it as a Christian, as a Goan. I don't think any one of us ever thought I am going to fight for freedom as a Christian or as a Hindu. As a human being, we need freedom. So this distinction of fighting for freedom on basis of religion is incorrect. Now, but at the same time, I also see something in Goa. I see that among the Christians, there is greater awareness for the nation in reality than the Goan Hindu. I am asserting myself here, and I will tell you how. Today, if you look at if you go into the army or military there is a shortage of 14,000 officers in the Indian Armed Forces. Our defense minister, when Parikar was there, he had said 14,000, maybe a little less now. Every time the army comes here in Goa for recruitment, no one goes there. Not a single soul goes for recruitment. The armed forces go back. But the same announcement is made for Goa police. Thousands of people come. Because in Goa police, there is no danger to you of fighting a war. Everybody wants to join the police force. Not many want to join the armed forces. And for the record, let me put it on record, that there are Goans in the armed forces. There have been even a commander-in-chief of the Indian Army, General Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Sunit Rodrigues. There are as many as 20 people of Lieutenant General, Major General rank, brigadiers. Many of them are there. Only 9% are Hindus. 91% of the Goans in the armed forces are of Catholic descent. Now I am pointing, this is the reality, you can't dispute it. Now if you are when you are talking of freedom fight, nationalism, we have got our freedom 75 years ago. Today, China is occupying, building something in our villages on our border. Why don't you join if you are freedom fighters, you are nationalists, go and join the army, man. Instead of trying to tell us that Christians are anti-national. See, the reality is that none of us are nationalists. We are nationalists when it comes to filling our pockets. We are nationalists when it comes to abusing others. But when it comes to reality, fighting for the country, standing up, joining the armed forces, no one joins. There's absolute shortage of men in the armed forces. So what is the use of fighting freedom if you can't protect our freedom? Now if you are real freedom fighters, go and now liberate liberate Pak-occupied Kashmir, liberate Aksai Chin. Why don't you do that? So it is easy to talk post facto, after liberation. And mind you, Goa did not get liberation because of the freedom fighters. Goa got liberated by Indian armed action. This is an accepted fact. The Indian army marched in, drove the Portuguese out. Freedom fighters did not get us freedom. Of course, they may conscientize the people, they work for freedom, but irrespective of whether they are Hindu or Christian, Goa's freedom did not come because of the Goan freedom fighters. Neither did India's freedom come because of the freedom fighters. They worked for it. But freedom came more particularly because Adolf Hitler, because it was Adolf Hitler who unleashed the Second World War, and by the end of the war, Britain was on the winning side, but they were completely decimated. They were unable to hold on to the Indian Empire. So therefore they gave us freedom. And soon after India got freedom, all British colonies, within 10 years, all the British colonies were given freedom. There was no Gandhi there, there was no Nehru there, there was no Congress there. All colonies got freedom because of the changes brought about in the world. The world is split into colonial, between communist and non-communist countries. So our history that Congress got us freedom is incorrect. Congress fought for freedom. It did not get us freedom. The freedom came because of the Second World War. This is the reality of the situation. So here in Goa now, as far as freedom fighters were concerned, as I have said, 50% or more even of Goan freedom fighters have emerged after liberation. See, it is even now, mind you, 60 years after Goa was liberated, even now, freedom fighters are being registered. The process is on. People are registering themselves freedom fighters. It has become a joke. I know of a colleague of mine, advocate, who must be around 72, 73 years old, who is a registered freedom fighter, who was 13 or 14 or 15 at the time of Goa's liberation. They are doing it to take benefits. This is the sort of freedom fighters we have. And none of the genuine freedom fighters have ever had the courage to point out this was not a freedom fighter. See, unfortunate part of our society is that we refuse to challenge whatever wrong is going on. We only talk about it. We are not willing to challenge it. Now, today we can see where our country is heading. And we need a freedom movement now. Now is the time for freedom movement. Because we can see that the judiciary has succumbed. And that is the worst possible thing that could happen. I have been practicing for many years, and I must say that in Goa, I am a trial court lawyer, there isn't much issue at the trial court. Fortunately, Goa is egalitarian, and in Goa there is not much issue. Judiciary functions on and off, but generally we have a good judiciary. But at the national level, what we have seen now, when Father Stan Swami was arrested, it was an issue where the judiciary had to intervene. The man is in his 80s, is suffering from Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or something. He dies in custody. These are people simply being prosecuted, not only he, scores of them. And the judiciary does nothing. In Jammu and Kashmir, whatever the issue may be, people are being arrested, killed, put in. The courts don't react at all. The Supreme Court doesn't react, High Court doesn't. Petitions are filed just allowed like that. So where are the freedoms? If it is happening in Kashmir today, it can happen here today, tomorrow. I don't see anyone, either Christian or Muslim or Hindu freedom fighters, fighting for these freedoms, where people are put in and incarcerated and kept in there for no reason at all, under preventive custody. At least there should be a judicial review. There is no judicial review. You can be in for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, simply because the police file a charge sheet against you. This is what needs to be fought. Now, if there were freedom fighters, this was not happening during British time. During British time, there were some freedoms at least. So our situation is worse than the British time. But we don't see any freedom fighters now. Everybody is quietly sleeping and saying everything is all right. That isn't really so. In fact, the country is today heading to disaster. Our freedoms, our rights could be lost in no time at all. And it wouldn't matter whether the Christians or the Hindus or Muslims. Everybody, it may begin with the Christians, it may begin with the Muslims. But in the end, the Dalits and the lower caste would be the victims. Because historically, the Hindu is not capable of standing up and fighting. I will say why I am saying so. From the time of the Kushans till the British came here, hardly anyone revolted. People just came, marched into the country, conquered, subjugated and ruled over us. After the Muslims just didn't come like that, the British just did not come like that. They came here because we did not stand up and fight. In fact, entry into India from the west was only through one pass, the Khyber Pass. No one blocked the Khyber Pass. People simply claimed, plundered and killed us and murdered our people. No one ever reacted because Hindutva or Hinduism, whatever the way of life we have, did not prepare us to assert ourselves against invaders. It happened for almost 1,500 years. This is the reality. Now to drive them out, we are making big issue. How did they come in first? No one questions, man. How did the British come in? How did the Portuguese come in? They came in from 7,000 miles away on flimsy boats, and they conquer our country and rule over us. And then you shout out that we have got freedom. How did they come here? How did they conquer us? These are things that need to be answered. It happened because, you see, when Alexander the Great invaded India, the armies were fighting, the Indian army and Alexander's, and they were laughing because they said, the farmers are plowing the fields, someone else is doing something, and the lower caste were not allowed to join the army, and couldn't fight with the Kshatriyas. If a lower caste came, the Kshatriyas would run away. This is what our society had become. Foreigners could come, conquer, plunder us because we were such a people that we did not want to fight unitedly. Our castes kept us separately. You couldn't join the army, and that is how we were conquered. These are the points that need to be addressed. Why did they rule us? How did they come and subjugate us? There is no other country in the world which has been dominated, ruled, conquered and subjugated by people for so many years. You see, if you go to Afghanistan, there is a mountain range called the Hindu Kush mountain, still called the Hindu Kush. Now the Hindu Kush doesn't mean Hindu happy. It is in the local language, Farsi language. It means Hindu killer mountains. Now why did they come to be named like that? The invaders came, they conquered and they took slaves with them, thousands of slaves marching from India over the Hindu Kush. And those people who are not well fed, who are not accustomed to the cold weathers, died like flies. This is what is recorded. So the mountains came to be called Hindu Kush mountains, Hindu killer mountains. So we have to realize our own weaknesses instead of blaming everybody else. There are inherent weaknesses in us that has kept us backward. And sadly for us, now this government that is there is trying to strengthen those weaknesses. We have to march into a modern forward-looking nation, and this can only be done through complete overhaul of the system. Before I conclude, let me tell you what has happened in China. China was also a backward country. But between 1967 onwards, Mao launched something called the Cultural Revolution or the Great Leap Forward. It brought in untold hardships to the people. Millions of people died. Millions of people died. But then final outcome was what? China destroyed the old social order. It destroyed all superstitions. and has emerged today as a superpower. They are now building houses in our country, in villages in our territory. Government of India simply keeps quiet because they have become powerful. Today they dominate the world. They have come to this stage by destroying old superstitions, old orders. We cannot march ahead by taking all our superstitions, by building temples. They build no temples. They close all temples, churches, everything. Here we are building temples. Every time you Ram temple, this temple, we are fighting over religious issues, man. Can we march forward like this? In the modern world, see, none of the Western countries are interested in religion. If you go to USA, UK, wherever, religion is hardly existing. The state is not concerned with whether your church is demolished, new churches are put up. Here the government is bringing religious bills to stop conversion, Gar Wapsi, for what? No society can progress unless it progresses with the times. And sadly we are moving back. We are moving back centuries. So therefore, if there are freedom fighters, they have to show their face now. Whether Christian, Hindu or Muslim, we need to fight for our freedoms. We need to take our country ahead in a direction where religion doesn't play a role at all. Because it is religion that has kept us backward. In Europe, the church was no saint. Copernicus, Galileo, we know what happened. The church would not allow people to think independently. All Catholics had to follow the church line. And as long as that happened, Europe was backward. In 1517, Martin Luther, a priest, Catholic priest, challenged the Pope. And with that challenge, the church split into Protestant and Catholic. And that is the exact point at which the West started progressing. If you look at the West today, it is the Protestant countries that are progressive, not the Catholic. Catholics were backward countries. Protestant, whether USA, UK, Germany, Holland, these are Protestant countries. Because they protested against the church's fundamentalism. And then their mind opened up. Science developed, philosophy developed. And from that, West has progressed. And since then, it has not looked back. It is no longer concerned with religion. We as a nation, unless we are able to stop propagating religion, stop believing that religion takes us somewhere, we will never reach anywhere. We will go back, unfortunately, and the trend is in that direction. Thank you.
एडवोकेट है, बहुत अच्छी दलील रखी है उन्होंने कि धर्म हमें आगे बढ़ने के लिए रोकता है क्या। बहुत सारे प्रश्न खड़े होंगे आपके मन में भी, बाद में उस पर चर्चा हम कर सकते हैं। वी हैव टू प्रोग्रेस विद टाइम, हमें समय के हिसाब से आगे बढ़ना चाहिए। ये एक बहुत बड़ी बात डॉक्टर एडवोकेट राधा राव ने कही। और मैंने कहा था कि ये अगर ये प्रोफेशनली एडवोकेट है तो इतिहास बहुत पढ़ा है उन्होंने, बहुत हिस्टोरिकल फैक्ट्स हमारे सामने रखे। नाउ वी मे हैव डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन, बट उन्होंने जो रखा उस पर बात होनी चाहिए। अभी हमारे सामने एक ऐसे व्यक्ति है जो मैंने जिनको नज़दीक से देखा है, जो राइट फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट्स मूवमेंट टू आज के जो लिबरल थॉट्स के जो हिसाब से जो लोग चलते हैं उनमें से एक है। पत्रकारिता में उन्होंने बहुत बड़ा योगदान दिया है और कुछ अलग करने की, जिनको हमेशा एक अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलती है तब वो अलग करने की सोच रखते हैं। आज इस व्यासपीठ पर एक निष्ठा देसाई आने वाले थे, लेकिन संदेश भाई जिन्होंने यह जो वैक्यूम है वो खुद अपने पर लिया और ही एग्रीड टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस। आई रिक्वेस्ट संदेश टू प्रेजेंट हिज प्रेजेंटेशन।
गुड आफ्टरनून। मैं लास्ट मिनट इंट्रूडर हूँ। जैसे कोपरे ने बताया कि डॉक्टर निष्ठा देसाई आने वाली थी और निष्ठा देसाई ने, जो सुशीला ने बताया कि उन्होंने डॉक्टर टीबी कुन्ना पे रिसर्च किया है और उनका डी नेशनलाइजेशन का जो कंसेप्ट था वो हमें जानना था उनसे। लेकिन उनकी घर में कोई आंटी बहुत ही बीमार है, इसलिए नहीं आ सके और इसलिए मैं बैठा हूँ। मैंने तो इन दोनों प्रिपेयर्ड है, आई एम नॉट सो मच प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर दिस, बट थोड़ी अलग चीज़ें मैं भी थोड़ी रखना चाहता हूँ। एक तो बात है कि इस why this kind of panel discussion was needed is basically because there is a systematic propaganda going on right now for the last 10-15 years consistently हो रहा है कि Christians are anti-nationals. ओके और इसीलिए हम ये लोहिया के विचार जब हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं इसी बारे में भी डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. गोवा के फ्रीडम आपने देखी तो यहाँ कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट फेजेस है. वो फेजेस कौन सी है? जो पहली फेज कोपरे जी ने बताई 1583. हाँ, जो कुछ रेबेलियन हुआ था वो रेबेलियन क्रिश्चियन लोगों ने, हिंदू लोगों ने, ज्यादातर क्रिश्चियन लोगों ने किया था. The second phase came when it was Pinto's revolt, right? Now what was Pinto's revolt? Pinto's revolt was a revolt by Christian priests, Goan Christian priests against the Portuguese regime. That was also by the Christians. The third phase came, which Advocate Radharao mentioned, of Francis Luis Gomes, who went to the Portuguese parliament also. And he spoke about India, India's freedom, India's nationalism. He was also a Christian. Then the phase came of Luis Menezes Braganza, on which Dr. Sushila Mendes has not only done a research, I hope her book is there, out kept for sale, please read it. He was called Tilak of Goa, Luis Menezes Braganza. Who was he? He was a Christian. Then the phase came, in which phase? It was pre-Lohiya phase, where the whole movement was dying. At that stage, वो पूरा movement फिर से शुरू कर दिया वो त्रिस्ताम ब्रगांज कुन्ना, जिनकी गोवा कांग्रेस कमेटी थी. वो कांग्रेस से संलग्न भी थी पहले, बाद में उसे निकाला गया क्योंकि गोवा वाज अ फॉरेन कंट्री एंड दे वांटेड टू मेक इट इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस, सो उसको डीएफिलिएट कर दिया. लेकिन गोवा कांग्रेस कमेटी थी. डॉक्टर जूलियाओ मेनेजिस की गोमंतक प्रजा मंडल थी. ये सब बंबई से काम कर रहे थे, गोवन यूथ लीग थे. सो त्रिस्ताम ब्रगांज कुन्ना वाज जस्ट नॉट अ गोवन फ्रीडम फाइटर, ही वाज एन इंटरनेशनल लीडर. If I am not mistaken, I think Ho Chi Minh was his roommate, and he was moving around all these people. He was part of the international also, the international committee. So such a towering personality, he led Goa's movement. And Dr. T.B. Kunna. So Dr. Tristam Braganza Kunna, जिनका नाम इस हॉल को दिया है. If we see all these phases, and from 1946, the whole movement started, which ended in 1961. All these phases were started, and when these were the movements, and you find the Christian names there. And on what basis are you saying that Christians are anti-nationals? There is one thing. And it is not that this Hindu-Christian thing was not there pre-61. It was there. And in fact, जब लोहिया गोवा से बाद में विड्रॉ हो गए गांधी जी के कहने पर, और वो गए, उस समय उन्होंने एक लेटर लिखा, लेटर टू गोवंस, जो एक्शन इन गोवा में है. लेट मी जस्ट रीड वन पैराग्राफ फ्रॉम दैट, जस्ट वन स्मॉल पैराग्राफ. The Hindus of Goa, ये लोहिया की है. The Hindus of Goa are sorely provoked by such fatuous remarks from church dignitaries, as are they still. Hindus in Goa test them hard, and yet I shall say to them, no matter what force. 1 minute, sorry. मुझे लगता है उससे पहले का है वो. ये नहीं था. Yes. It is indeed true that the Portuguese rule will not be worth the guesswork of a day's purchase once British rule is ended. That one can. मैंने कुछ गड़बड़ कर दिया, ये थोड़ी अलग है. मैं बाद में let Kopre ask me and I will read it out to you. Okay, I will read it out to you. I'll just search for it. But he has written very nicely about it, the whole thing. आई सर्च इट लेटर ऑन, आई एम सॉरी. मुझे थोड़ी अलग बात कहनी है. ये सब क्रिश्चियन फ्रीडम फाइटर्स थे, बहुत लोग थे जो सुशीला ने बताया. और मेरी कानकोन से तो एक आ रहे हैं जो अल्फ्रेड ऑफर्स, वो बम्बई में काम करते थे टेलीफोन डिपार्टमेंट में. लोहिया के इसके बाद इन्होंने तेरेखोल से लीड किया एक सत्याग्रही का जथापूर्ण, और तेरेखोल फोर्ट दे हैड टेकन ओवर एंड ही क्विट हिज जॉब फॉर दैट. Can you imagine? He quit his job for that and he participated in the satyagraha. He was arrested, and finally his condition was so much that after he died, his house was collapsing, and through the newspapers of Goa, the funds were collected to rebuild his house. In such kind of conditions also people have participated in Goa's freedom struggle. They were Hindus, Christians, everybody. I am putting forward a little different question besides this, where people were converted, and then what was the condition of Christians. The basic question I am raising is that what is freedom? Freedom means just political freedom. Freedom means just the freedom you fight for a boundary, maybe of a state or a nation. Freedom means only a fight or a struggle against some foreigner? Or is it freedom for everybody who is living on this land? कोपरे जी ने बोलते समय बताया था कि मैं स्टूडेंट मूवमेंट में था, और स्टूडेंट मूवमेंट में हम आई वाज एसोसिएटेड विद लेफ्टिस्ट मूवमेंट, एंड वी यूज्ड टू इन 80s वी यूज्ड टू सिंग वन सॉन्ग. ओके, लेट मी सिंग. बहुत ये हो रहा है ना, ट्राई जैसा हो रहा है. So just let me sing 2 lines about that. Sushila and me, we were together for that. बदल डालो ये दुनिया, अब ना रोना मरना है. बदल डालो ये दुनिया, अब ना रोना मरना है. देश हमारा भूखा प्यासा, देश हमारा भूखा प्यासा, ये आजादी झूठी है, ये आजादी झूठी है. If somebody is भूखा प्यासा, can we call it आजादी? कह सकते हैं क्या हम आजादी? What is freedom? So the point I am trying to come here is that when Portuguese ruled Goa with the help of landlords, no matter whether they belong to Christians or Hindus. Portuguese tried to destroy the whole culture here through Inquisition, but they did not destroy the caste system which prevails even today among Christians. There are Christian Brahmins, there are Christian Kshatriyas, and then there are Christian Shudras. They are called Sudhirs. And the Sudhirs are basically the majority. And they were just taken for granted, and they were literally living in misery. There was a time when, I have some figures here of the census of 1850. The full Goa which is there, the full Goa was not conquered. The whole Goa was conquered and ruled for 450 years. In 1788, the 4/5 of Goa was conquered. Before that, it was only 1/5, where people were converted. In the 4/5 of Goa, people were not converted. The Portuguese had changed the policy. But after this whole Goa in 1850, the total population of Goa was 3.64 lakh. And out of that 3.64, 2.32 lakh were Christians and 1.24 lakh were Hindus. The Christians were more than Hindus, almost a difference of 1 lakh. In 1910, the total population of Goa was 5.38 lakh. Means at that time in 1850, 64% were Christians. In 1910, it was 5.38 lakh. The Christians had risen from only 2.32 lakh to 2.68. Only this much in 60 years. But the Hindus were, they rose from 1.29 lakh to 2.70 lakh, almost 3 lakhs, nearly 3 lakhs. And Christians, the population of Christians came down to 49%. It was 49, almost equal. After that, we were not allowed. But these are the Goans. And they still love Goa. Till today, whatever is the major agitation, major people's movement, the funding, everything, the money comes from them. Those hardworking people, they give their share of earning to Goa for Goa's betterment. And you are calling them anti-national. So it is that kind of thing which is there, where we are limiting our whole definition of freedom or liberation to the fight against Portuguese. It was not. The fight for my survival, the fight for my living. So that is also important. And led in that means when there were conversions, religious conversions, many Hindus migrated. But after conversion phase and the whole phase, the Christians also started migrating when there was an inquisition against neo-Christians. To change the culture, they migrated. And even after that, those who, जो Christian बन गए, Christian culture भी उन्होंने किया, they also kept migrating. So it is not more Hindus who have migrated from Goa. There are more Christians who have migrated and they are still migrating. And they are fighting for their freedom. So in that sense, I am saying that the Christians, I feel, are the real freedom fighters. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandesh bhai. आज़ादी केवल पॉलिटिकल आज़ादी है या यहाँ रहने की हमें खाने की आज़ादी है या जो हमें सर्वाइवल हम यहाँ जीत सकते हैं? मैडम So, as I said, we have discussed on this, and I will say that there is no need of any certificate from anyone to say, or there is no scale to judge they are less nationalist or these are more nationalist. There is no scale, no degree, or they don't need any certificate. We know their contribution. History speaks and the facts remains facts. My village, my constituency where I come from, Kukolim, we had a first freedom fighter as a first MLA as a freedom fighter, Rock Satan. So we have a person like great freedom fighter Furjans Morais who went till the deputy superintendent of police. We had a freedom fighter who was surviving freedom fighter Anthony Fernandez. We had a freedom fighter Tiamonton Borges. We have a freedom Antonio Pereira, Duming Aguiar, Dr. Zuzeminin Mascarenas. There are a huge list of Christian freedom fighters which comes from Kunkoli or even Velich and Osolna. So this shows that their contribution for that time. I remember Dr. Verissimo Coutinho said, we fought for Swaraj and Swadharma. Now that time, maybe that the spirit of nationalism or country as a India may not be there prevailing. So they fought for the land as well for the survival. And that is, together they fought. It is not that whether you are a Christian or a Hindu. I remember my ancestors were always telling, we had a father, Agapito Lawrence, Monsieur Agapito Lawrence. He was supposed to get a bishop post, but he was refused because he said, we are in prison during the Portuguese time. So that type of capabilities we had. I met Father Antim Gomes, late Father Antim Gomes, he was a principal. He used to say, I am a real Kunkolkar, but my forefathers were the 16 chieftains who were fought for our country or our land. I remember Sister Emma Norona. She proudly says that I have that spirit of nationalism with me. So how can we say that the Christians were less nationalist or they are anti-nationals? I think if somebody is saying that we should not tolerate and we should not accept.
One thing, if you permit me, I just forgot to tell. I was just going through the whole list of freedom fighters and all, and there are some books also, who's who of freedom fighters. So total, out of some 350, 116 freedom fighters are Christian freedom fighters, but that is not the main thing. The main thing was that Lohia ji started this civil liberties movement in Madgaon. Madgaon is just a town, but ये पूरा जो है उसे तहसील जो है उसे सालसेत बोलते हैं. और एक मडगांव छोड़कर जहां थोड़े हिंदू मेजोरिटी में है, बाकी सब गांव जो है पूरे गांव यहाँ, ये पूरे गांव दे आर विथ क्रिश्चियन मेजोरिटी. दीज आर द कन्वर्टेड विलेजेस. Being a commercial city here, other people also came and settled. So the demography has changed slightly. So 46, 19, 18 June से spontaneous movement हुआ for 53 days. Nobody had organized it. It was spontaneous. People were coming out spontaneously. From 19 June it started. सुबह में प्रभात फेरी, उसके बाद एक मीटिंग, शाम को वो मैदान को उन्होंने नाम ही दिया दूसरे दिन से लोहिया मैदान, जहां लोहिया ने भाषण किया था. और वो लोहिया मैदान पे सब लोग इकट्ठा होते थे और वहां मीटिंग होती थी. ये तो पूरे होता था और बाकी गांवों में मीटिंग होती थी. The maximum protest, spontaneous protest which took place for 53 days by Goans, the maximum protests were held in this Salse Taluka. It is just not Madgaon, but these are the villages from Kasauli, that is TB Kunna's village, to Kukuri, which is Kopre's village. It was in Osornam. There are maximum freedom fighters from Chisone. So all these people who came and who were coming all the time, every day, morning, evening, they were just not Hindus. They were basically people from whole Salset. So Salset has a big role to play, especially when Dr. Lohia started this movement. Thank you.
Thank you. Abhi, if you have any question to all our panelists, you can shoot your questions.
Radha, I know you don't mean it, but when you said India's independence was not earned but given, you sound like Kangana Ranaut.
वेरी मच करेक्ट. हंसने की बात नहीं है. लोग हंस रहे हैं, ये हंसने की बात नहीं है. प्रश्न पूछा है, बहुत रिलेवेंट है. हंसने की बात नहीं है. आजादी हमें दी नहीं गई है, हमने ली है. उसके लिए बहुत सारे काम करने पड़े हैं, बहुत सारे बलिदान देने पड़े हैं, बहुत सारा त्याग करना पड़ा, तब हमको आजादी हमने छीनी है, हमें दी नहीं गई है. आपने जो कंगना रनावत का सेम वर्जन आपने रिपीट किया, वो एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं है. एटलीस्ट मैं एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर सकता. मेरा विरोध आप दर्ज कर लीजिए.
See, what I have said is India did not get independence because of the freedom movement. I still maintain that. We may have got freedom because of the freedom movement after another 50 years. We got it because the world order changed. Freedom was granted to every British colony within 10 years of India's independence because of the change in the world situation. I am not disputing that Indians fought for freedom under leadership of Congress. I am not disputing. But the freedom did not come because of the Congress struggles. That moment in August 51, in August 15, 1947, the freedom came because of a change in the world situation where every colonial power decided to give up colonies. This is, I am asserting and I am maintaining it.
एक मिनट, let me just add to this. Let me just add to this.
Just 1 minute.
एक minute. I'm just adding to what he's saying. Yeah. Being a Marxist student, I had opportunity to learn little Marxism and basically the dialectical materialism. So in dialectical materialism, there are many concepts, and one of them, for any change, which we say a revolutionary change, what you needed, there are so many factors which play a role, and one of them is a combination of internal factor and external factor. और इसके लिए एक एग्जाम्पल देते हैं. हिंदी, हाँ, जो मुर्गा मुर्गा जो होता है, एक बहुत अच्छी एग्जांपल देते हैं कि मुर्गा जो मुर्गी होती है, नॉट मुर्गा, मुर्गी जो होती है, वो मुर्गी जब अंडा देती है, हाँ, मतलब जो अंडे पे बैठती है और उसके बाद वहाँ से जो जो क्या बोलते हैं आप, हाँ हाँ, जो आता है बाहर, वो मुर्गी स्टोन पे बैठी तो इससे वो बाहर नहीं आएगा, और अंडा ऐसा ही रखा और उस पे ऊपर मुर्गी नहीं बैठी तो भी वो बाहर नहीं आएगा. So internal factors and external factors both are important. So though I agree with Radha Rao that there were two factors, and both these factors I feel important, because of that this change took place. The internal factor was the freedom movement. I come from the family of freedom fighters where both my parents, my mother and father, both were freedom fighters. And I know we have suffered and everything, or the whole thing, and I have been brought up in this thing. But besides that, there were also external factors, and both have played role, and through that we got freedom. I think we have to divide it properly, scientifically.
इस आई थिंक उनका कहने का ये मतलब नहीं है कि हमें आज़ादी भीख में मिली है. He never said that. He said that ये भी एक एग्जाम्पल, एक कारण था. There is also a reason. उनका एडवोकेट राधाराव का कहना है कि that was also a, क्योंकि बैटल में क्या होता है, अगर सिचुएशन वैसा है, इवन दैट टाइम द टेम्परेचर और एनवायरमेंट, दैट ऑल्सो हेल्प्स यू. इवन इन क्रिकेट मैच, इफ द पिच इज नॉट कंडीसिव टू प्ले, देन यू मे एडवांटेज टू विन. सो आई थिंक दैट ही मीन टू दैट.
एक सवाल है, राधाराव जी ने बहुत ही सहजता से कहा कि आई एम नॉट कंफर्टेबल सर दैट मच. ओके, what you said ki you have given a solution regarding the Kyrgyzstan and that region and Aksai Chin in your talk. So whether it is so simple that that military will go and can they क्या वे जगह ले सकते हैं इस तरह से, whether it is so simple that people will join military and military will take action and that part will be India's part, is it so easy?
He is asking, is it very simple, as you said, that why we are not joining and sending out the Chinese from there, why there are no freedom fighters now coming to take that task? So is it so simple, or there are many other causes which we cannot do that, or there are hurdles you want to ask?
See, what happens is, when Goa was under the Portuguese, the freedom fighters stood up to fight for Goa's freedom. Now, Pak occupied Kashmir. Pak is under Pakistan occupation. It is integral part of India by virtue of the instrument of accession. Why is no one now rising up to fight for that recovery of that land? That is what I have said. I have not said they should go up and fight there. That fighting will have to be done by the military. Why is the army, why are there no freedom fighters? Their freedom fighters came from all over to fight for Goa's freedom. Let the freedom fighters rise and go and demand freedom of what they call Azad Kashmir or Pak. Why shouldn't it be part of India? You fought for Goa to be merged with India, fight for Pak to be merged with India also. That is what I am saying. You may succeed or you may not succeed. But who is taking up the cause? How is that there is no one demanding that Pak should be made part of India? Just as Goa was separate from India, everybody fought and made part of India. Do that, man. Go and fight for Pak. That's what I am saying.
Any other question?
लिंग्विस्टिक एंगल से आपने रखा कि वर्नाकुलर लैंग्वेज पढ़ने वाले और इंग्लिश, आज की तारीख में मेरा अपना ऑब्जर्वेशन, हमाम में सभी नंगे हैं. हमारी एनआरआईज की शाखाएं चलती है, वहाँ पर बड़े बड़े शो होते हैं सो कॉल्ड भारत से गए हुए लीडर के. ये सब अंग्रेजी पढ़ने लिखने वाले हैं. बंगलोर के आईआईटी हब में पूरी शाखाएं चलती है, सब अंग्रेजी वाले हैं. तो अभी आप जो स्टेटमेंट कर रहे हैं वर्नाकुलर लैंग्वेज के बारे में, अंग्रेजी पढ़े लिखे लोगों से मुझे कम्युनलिज्म का ज़्यादा स्मेल आ रहा है आज की तारीख में. ये बात हम भी कभी कहते थे, लेकिन आज की तारीख में जितने अंग्रेजीदा या इस ढंग के पढ़े लिखे सो कॉल्ड लोग कम्युनल हो चुके हैं। मेरा बेटा कनाडा में था 5 साल, बोला डैडी आप मुझे बहुत प्रो या क्या क्या लगते थे, लेकिन मुझे यहाँ आने का पता चला है कि यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट। इस ढंग का पूरा माहौल बना हुआ है। इसलिए भाषा के ऊपर का जो आपका ऑब्जर्वेशन है, मेरे ख्याल से आज की तारीख में वो कहीं तो भी गलत सिद्ध हो रहा है। अभी सभी तरह की बातों में शामिल है, और डोनाल्ड ट्रंप इज अ क्लासिकल एग्जाम्पल विश्व का एक, बाकी और तो बहुत लिए जा सकते। इसलिए भाषा के ऊपर ये हो गया वो हो गया, वो थोड़ा कन्विंसिंग नहीं है।
He wanted to say that, as you said, those who have Western languages, they are more aware about the Western, or close to the Western, they progressed. He said it is not so, because those are English speaking or English learned are more communal than those are the vernacular languages. That's what. So he is not
See,
accepting your contention.
What I stated has nothing to do with being communal or not. What I have said, our freedom fighters are those, whether Nehru or Gandhi or Ambedkar or many of them, they studied in English, and which widened their horizons. They saw what was happening elsewhere in the world. So did the Goan freedom fighters. And thereafter, they realized that we have to have our own freedoms. If you do not, because the whole world was moving in that direction. It is through the study of these languages, study of Western literature, that the idea of freedoms, idea of human rights all came into their heads. Then they fought. Thereafter, they got others involved. This is my case. Maybe you have other reasons, but this is what I have said. Yeah. That is also Western, German.
He is not saying only English. He is not saying only English. The Western revolt or the Western, when you read the Western culture or Western things, Western books, your thinking has went high, and this freedom fighter like Nehru and all other took that decision, and they could have fought for that.
Regional languages is fellow who is famous root of Hindi. Okay, sir. And मुझे मालूम है जहाँ तक हिंदी is you can teach, you can study in English. It's an instruction of medium, not in Goa. It's an instruction of medium. Medium of instruction of English. So हिंदी जो पढ़ते हैं या रीजनल लैंग्वेज जो पढ़ते हैं, कोंकणी पढ़ते हैं, मराठी पढ़ते हैं, वो कुछ प्रोग्रेस नहीं करते हैं। ये आपने कहा, ये सच्चाई नहीं है। इज नॉट अ रियलिटी।
No, excuse me. ऐसा उन्होंने नहीं कहा है। No. तुमने जो कहा ऐसा उन्होंने बिल्कुल नहीं कहा कि जो हिंदी पढ़ते हैं वो प्रोग्रेस नहीं करते या वर्नाकुलर पढ़ते हैं वो प्रोग्रेस। उसने क्या कहा कि फ्रीडम मूवमेंट को ज्यादा फोर्स मिला क्योंकि दे वेर लर्न द वेस्टर्न लैंग्वेजेस। उन्होंने वेस्टर्न में पढ़ा, उसमें क्या हुआ, वो होराइजन उनको समझ में आया, इसलिए यह अच्छा हुआ, ऐसा उनका कहना। ही नेवर सेड दैट बिकॉज ऑफ दिस लैंग्वेजेस यू कैन नॉट ग्रो। हिज contention is not dead. Yes, liberalization, not what we are calling now as a globalization. So that type of liberalization, we got it from that language, he said. And he has not said only English, even the Westerns. Anything else? Yeah.
Why, am I audible? Yes. Why Western educated freedom fighters, they came back India and they started Swadeshi movement?
No, that's exactly, I am saying precisely that. They went to the West, they studied the Western lifestyles, they got Western ideas of modern life. And after that,
they started Swadeshi movement? boycotting foreign language, for boycotted English education. They started Hindi medium schools. In Goa also, Marathi medium schools were started
Correct.
against Portuguese medium.
Yes.
In rest of India, everywhere they started Hindi schools, Indian education, Gandhiji, most of the time, like, several things, okay? So Western educated freedom fighters, they went there, they saw the situation, they understood certain ideas. At the same time, they also understood the importance of our own culture, to keep, alive.
No,
our-
precisely. We
Yeah.
understood your point. I'll just add to this thing and give you an example of Goa. Okay. He was talking about the horizon, basically. अपना horizon broaden होता है, हाँ, जब आप बाहर जाके बाकी सब पढ़ते हैं इससे. I am a Marathi medium student in Goa, Marathi medium up to SSC. And not only me, there are so many. कल दत्ता नाइक जी ने ये किया था, कीनोट एड्रेस दिया था. He's a Marathi medium student, knows Sanskrit very well. There are so many. All of us have fought for Konkani language. After studying Marathi, we fight for Konkani. Because Marathi basically broadened our horizon and then told us and made us realize the identity. Our identity क्या है? इसका हमें ये हो गया, realization हो गया. So it will always happen like that. And you will come back to your country and your state and fight. Basically through certain language, there is good literature available, and through that literature you broaden your horizon. And I think that is the point he is making. It is not question of language. I can go to foreign country and I will start definitely a Swadeshi movement. No, are you picking and choosing? No, do you want to pick and choose and
Okay.
then say that no, you said it?
Okay,
main
madam.
thing is, he is talking about horizon. The language broadens your horizon, that is the point. So what is wrong when you go abroad and then come and start Swadeshi movement?
No, you are also not wrong. Both are right. Okay. Okay, madam. Please be seated. Yes, please be seated. Yes, understood. Please be seated. See, it was a nice discussion. बहुत अच्छा discussion हुआ कि उनका कहने का मतलब जो मैं समझ में आया, आपको जो I am also a Hindi Marathi medium student. I did my 4th standard through Marathi. I writes in Marathi. I also writes in English. I read Marathi. I read Konkani. I read Hindi. मैं MA हिंदी में क्या है? मैं अंग्रेजी में पढ़ता हूँ, अंग्रेजी में लिखता हूँ. It is not language issue or it is not Indians are less developed, Westerns were more developed. उनका कहने का मतलब जो मुझे समझ में आया कि जब आप बहुत बड़ी सोच से बाहर जब सोचते हैं, उसमें कुछ गलत नहीं है. जो क्या है, फ्रेंच रेवोल्यूशन हमें क्यों पढ़ाया जाता है? Why we are learning French Revolution? Why we are learning the literature from the America? Because that gives more avenues to our thinking. So this freedom fighter, I told you Dr. Verissimo Coutinho, he was in Chicago to a university lecturer, a professor. He came down to Goa in Kunkolim and he developed that movement called the chieftains. The 16 chieftains we fought first 1583 revolt. That doesn't mean that what he says that because he went there, he got that spirit to fight, maybe because of that avenues. So we will take in that direction, and I think with this note, we'll end this session. I hand over the mic to the compare. Thank you very much. बहुत अच्छा discussion हुआ. Sir, समय की पाबंदी है. Thank you.
Thank you to all the panelists and the moderator for such a wonderful discussion, and thank you audience for participating in the same. हांगा जे मुद्दे मांडले सद्याच्या परिस्थितीचेर आमी आतां खंय चल्ल्यात ते आयकून म्हाका बाकीबाब बाबांची 2 उतरां याद जातात. तांणी म्हळां की प्राणाक क्षय, बुद्धीक भंय, फाल्यांक जंय कालचीच वय, आयला थंय स्वातंत्र्य तें, स्वातंत्र्य न्हय स्वातंत्र्य थंय. Where there is a fear of thought, while dreaming of tomorrow we are still regressive. the freedom that we have got is not really freedom. And Sandesh Bhai also mentioned about ye azadi jhooti hai. It is said that gratitude is the fairest blossom that springs from the soul. It's my privilege to express our sincere gratitude to our moderator, Vijay Kumar Kopre sir, our panelists, Dr. Sushila Sawant Mendes, Advocate Radharao Gracious, and Mr. Sandesh Prabhudesai for such thought-provoking and insightful discussion over here. The discussion was really informative. I'm sure all of us have learned something new and it made us think as well. I thank you all for giving us your valuable time. One announcement for all the audience. We have the book stalls outside this auditorium by Dog Ears Bookstores and Kokni Bhasha Mandar. There are books on politics, history of Goa on the Dog Ears Bookstores in English, Kokni and also other languages. Also there are a lot of other books on different topics. We also have the books Action in Goa and 19 Months in Salazar's Prison in English and Hindi. We have Action in Goa book in English language, Kokni, Marathi, Hindi as well as Bengali. You will be able to buy it outside. I request one and all to have a look at the book exhibition and check the books. We also have books on Kokni grammar, Kokni dictionaries on KBM stall. Okay. There is an exhibition on freedom fighters on the ground floor, on the first floor of Ravindra Bhavan, wherein you will be able to see the pictures, images and lot of insights on the freedom struggle of Goa as well. I request one and all to have a look at that also, which is on the ground floor outside the main auditorium. Thank you one and all. Now we will break for lunch and we will get back here at 2 o'clock for the next session. Please be here, be present here sharp at 2 as we have to start with the next session. Thank you one and all.